Hey, this is Charles Onyet with IGN. I'm here with Anthony Gallegos.
Hello.
And we are playing Path of Exile, which is it's launched basically. It's an open beta right now, but it's all of the content that developer Grinding Gear Games has made for the game. It is a Diablo-style action RPG inspired by, obviously if you play it, Diablo 2, in that it has kind of this dark fantasy, more realistic kind of art style to it, and the progression between different acts is also very similar to Diablo, and you have your simple quests that are basically just an excuse to go to an area and kill everything. That's basically how the questing works.
Replayability a big factor in this. Go back and replay acts that you've done before to grind. And
yep, and you come back to the various towns. You can talk to the people in town about what's going on in the universe, and they will give you very simple quests and very simple rewards as well. So a lot of it is very similar to Diablo. I can go over to my notice board here and find parties to join up with.
That's nice, actually.
Yeah, this is actually an online game, so there's a general chat field that usually is taking up this side of the screen that I'm circling. I've turned it off because people say mean things. I would prefer not to have them on screen, but there's also a trade channel, so if you find, there's no auction house or anything like that. If you do find items that you want to get rid of, you can try to sell them to other players. There's PvP as well, but I haven't really gotten into that yet. Oh, here we see this guy has a quest for me or something to say, so I'm not going to talk to him right now.
The player economy is something that really interests me in this because of the fact that there isn't, like Diablo and all these games, they had gold. It was an easy monetary system. So in this, I'm curious to see how players decide what's worth something.
Yeah, exactly. So that is an odd thing in that there is no gold in the game, but you do get these orbs that tend to be more valuable. And these kind of tie into the crafting system in that, something like this Orb of Transmutation will upgrade a normal item into a magic item, and then you have various ways of modifying item stats through finding these orbs, and you'll get this stuff. Some of this stuff will drop. Some of it you get when you actually sell things to vendors. They don't give you gold, they give you components for these orbs. You find more powerful stuff too, like a Chaos Orb. If you find a rare item, and these are rare items, this color, that you don't like the stats on, you can apply a Chaos Orb to it, and it will kind of reforge that item with new random properties. So it's kind of like a dice roll to try and get the item you want. And yeah, that's kind of the currency that people use to trade back and forth, which is pretty cool. In fact, I can show that right now. I'm going to go to this vendor. I'm going to sell items. And I'm going to get rid of this shield, these mitts, staff, and this ring mail. And you can see I'm not getting money here. I'm just getting little fragments and stuff. Scroll fragments. And I go back out to my inventory, and you can see I have Scrolls of Wisdom, which are basically identify scrolls. And I have portal scrolls, which are just scrolls of town portal. I mean, you should pretty much know how that works. But then, yeah, once you sort of set up your inventory, get the items you want, and of course you find tons of items as you kill guys. I happen to have been pretty lucky with the items I've found. This staff I found is way out of control powerful. I think the roll on it has super increased physical damage, but it also has really high elemental damage. So it's boosted my. I've been using it almost the entire time I've been playing.
So one of the things I'm wondering is I've watched you play this, and you kill a lot of guys, and they're dropping items. If it's a magical item, if it's not a magical item, is it worth picking up in this game? Is there a reason to pick up things that aren't, I guess, rarer?
Well, I mean, if you get if you pick, you'll find a lot of loot that you pass in the game for sure. I don't pick up nearly everything that that drops off of monsters, but if you're low on identity scrolls or something like that, you just go sell a bunch of junk items back to vendors, set up a portal, keep going back through there, and you'll get a bunch of identity scrolls that way. They'll keep giving you scraps.
Okay.
So I mean, it can be. It depends on if you're low on stuff. So you can see the general combat here is pretty similar to this subgenre, but the way that you progress your character is actually quite a bit different. So I have a couple things I can do here. This curse on the ground will actually make it so that when I attack an enemy, I gain health and mana back. I'm getting slammed by fireballs, but I've built my guy as kind of an endurance kind of tanky character, so I can set up this. No, stop attacking my totem. My totem gives me health back. It's gone now. But I can set that up if I'm in a big fight, set it behind me, and then keep attacking enemies so they stay off of it, and I regain health when I'm in the area. You can see I'm regaining it now. So those are two different ways for me to regain health, and I can also boost my armor by setting up this kind of fire shield that rotates around me. And if this thing absorbs enough damage, it'll actually blow up. So let's see if I can get it to blow up here. There we go. So you can see it blow up and actually takes out some enemies on the way. Oop, I've got a rare enemy type. So yeah, I mean, you go through these dungeons, you know, random enemy positions within them, and you fight special types of enemies who have
drop special things.
They usually drop better stuff, and they're tougher to kill as well. And then what is my... Oh, I just have like a basic AoE attack, so I can attack a bunch of guys, which is helpful in combination with this AoE curse, so that I can get more health back. Then I have kind of a power swing. And I have a way to yell, basically a shout, which... Ow, stop hitting me with lightning. Which basically gives me these endurance orbs that makes me a little bit more durable. So in combination with this, it gives me... you know, ways to absorb damage. Then I can regain health with that. I get the damage boost from the shield blowing up, and I can maybe do my AoE attacks, because those guys aren't very strong anyway.
The cool thing about all these abilities, I think, that really sets Path of Exile apart is you're not just getting them because you're a Templar, you know, because you're putting points in to get strong swing, you know, it's not that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good point. So it's not like those skills are the only ones that I happen to pick a Templar class that I got. I'm only using those because I found the skill crystals. So all of the skills that you use in the game, all of your abilities, are drops. They are tied to these gems that you set into pieces of gear. So you have to find gear that has the appropriate color slots for the gems that you want to use, and then equip them. And when they're equipped, they will actually gain experience in your equipment, and they also become available to use. And then you can reassign these however you want. I just have it set up like this because this is what I've found to be my most effective build right now. And then there's more to this system, where if you have like heavy strike here, you can see it's in a linked slot with this, which I've slotted a support gem. So it adds fire damage to my heavy strike. So you can modify gems depending on not only the color, but also the linkage between different items. And this one actually has 4 on it, but I mean, on these I don't have that many links yet. This one only has a shameful 1 slot, so I'm still obviously looking for more ways to upgrade my items. So not only are you getting the stats and stuff from items, but you're also gaining more ways to kind of figure out your skill allocation, which is really cool. And it makes drops more exciting, because, you know, you're not only finding gear, you're finding actual new, like genuinely new ways to fight. And then you do level them up manually, which I'm not a huge fan of. I am going to level up Rejuvenation Totem, but in some cases you will level... I mean, it's possible to level a gem outside of your usable range, and I'll give an example of that right now. Like with Flicker Strike here, which I have been using, I accidentally leveled it last time because I equipped these gauntlets that give me a big dexterity bonus. Except when I take the gauntlets off at the current level of Flicker Strike, I'm not going to be able to use it anymore.
Because you don't have the right amount of dex.
Because I don't have enough dexterity. So I kind of out-leveled it a bit, so I wish I hadn't done that. But, I mean, I guess the point of not leveling your gems is to be able to give them to alts. So if you do like I'm doing and run through the game with, you know, one class you want to start out as a different one, then you can just put those gems in your stash, which I've done. I have a ton of gems sitting in my stash, and hand them off to alts when you start up. Now, you may be wondering, well, what is the difference between classes? Well, this is kind of what ties into it. This is the passive skill tree in Path of Exile, and each class starts in a different part of the tree. So this is where I've started over here as a Templar, and then you can see the 6 other classes are kind of over... Well, 6 total classes are these nodes that I'm highlighting, and then what you do is every level you get a point, and you put it into however you want to boost your character. So my guy is kind of a hybrid strength intelligence. I've been focusing mostly on strength, although I've come over up into kind of the intelligence branch here to boost the radius of area skills and area damage. But largely what I've been, oh, and I do have a dex bonus on here, but largely what I've been doing is boosting like life, maximum life, and more life bonuses, armor, boosting that, more armor, energy shield, which is kind of this little overlay over the health globe down here, and focusing mostly on survivability as well as two-handed weapon effectiveness. So I have like 40% increased critical strike chance with two-handed weapons. I could focus on specific weapon types. I just haven't done that yet. If I wanted to focus on staff combat or swords or maces or axes, there are little circles for all of that thing. If you've played like Final Fantasy X, you will notice this is very similar to the sphere grid from that game, and it kind of works the same way. So if I wanted to get completely out of this area, you know, I could do that. I could have easily been over in here learning all of these lightning damage and spell damage skills up in this area, or nodes. I guess these aren't active skills. They're just percentage boosts.
I mean, the tree looks really intimidating from someone that hasn't played, but I imagine if you just do a little bit of research, you can really plot out the course of your character in a way that makes sense for the way you like to play.
Yeah, I mean, it does start you out in this kind of limited area, so you're like, okay, well, I mean, these are some ones I should definitely take. Like, yes, I want more life. Like, that's an easy decision. Sure, I'll learn that. But once you start reaching out past here, that's when you really need to figure out kind of what's going on. And especially since some of these ones can really change how you play. Like, your hits can't be evaded, which is great, but you can also never deal critical strikes. So that would, if you have any critical strike bonuses already unlocked, that kind of makes them useless. So you do need to start studying the tree once you get out further, and that's why I've like gone out here and I'm learning around this loop, because I'm getting 8% increases in armor and energy shield,
nice,
all leading to this 20% boost to both of those, as well as elemental resistances. And that's why eventually I'm going to come down here, and this will help with my two-handed weapon combat in this loop. And then that is basically life. I thought there was, oh yeah, so here's a bunch of resistances that I want to learn down here. Okay, sorry, back on the skill tree here, there was a server disconnect, which, if you've been playing, has been happening quite frequently since launch. Apparently there are a lot of people trying to play this game right now. It's free, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why there's so many people trying to play it free, open beta.
Path of Exile is a totally free game, and, I mean, I'm almost through, I think I'm probably about halfway through Act 3 at this point, and there is a microtransaction system here, but it's all cosmetic stuff. I've never once, while I've been playing, felt like the experience was in some way impeded or made less entertaining by the fact that it is a free game with a microtransaction system. It is so separate from the main game experience that I think it's just really, really well done. I don't understand how grinding gear is going to stay in business.
Yeah, it seems like they're giving too much away.
With the current system, it feels like it feels like the whole game is free and that there's just no reason to pay for anything. But apparently it's been working for them, from what they've said. It's actually been successful. So I hope for continued success. But yeah, it's not the type of payment system that ever gets in your face or makes you feel like you need to participate in it.
So earlier you had shown us that you had these totems and all these things to help you have survivability. But, you know, in these games, potions are obviously a big thing that play into them. At least, you know, Diablo 2, you know, you just sat there and spammed potions. Oh my god,
so much potion spam in Diablo 2. So much. And the whole game was kind of based or balanced around the fact that you would spam potions. So
yes, stacks and stacks of potions.
It could get very frustrating at times, especially in boss fights. So what grinding gear has done with potions, I think, is really smart, and I like the system quite a bit. You'll notice in the bottom of the screen, on the left, I have kind of 5 potions sitting here, and I actually just picked up another one. Let me knock this guy down real quick. That's what I was talking about with that staff. It is way powerful. Oop, armor scrap. I will take that. That is a special item. So, to go over potions, I actually just picked up a greater life flask. So you'll pick up these flasks. They'll drop. And they will refill on their own, so you never have to go to town to buy more potions. There's never a need to buy potions. It's just once they're in your inventory, you can consume them. Like, there, I just consumed my grand life flask here, and it won't refill until I kill enemies. So it encourages you to go out and stay active in a fight, so you can't just retreat infinitely depending on, you know, how many potions you have. You do have to participate in a battle. And also, it's not this huge money sink or reason that you have to keep going back to town or something like that. And also, some of these can actually have stat bonuses, which I think is really cool. Like while
yeah, because they're part of your like actual like build now.
Yeah,
they're up outside of your inventory.
Yeah, they're equipable items. They're not taking up inventory space. And some of these you find hybrid flasks that restore life and mana, which I've been using because obviously that's useful. And then I have something like this Quicksilver flask, which I found early on and has been really, really useful because it boosts my movement speed. So that's kind of the oh crap button. If I'm just like, okay, something's going crazy, I'm just going to hit this and run out and hit a couple potions or drop a totem real quick. Recharge, and then I can, I think I have it has basically 2 charges before I can jump back into a fight. And then there are also orbs that you find that can upgrade your flasks to be better quality as well, so they are slightly modifiable. So it's a really good system that I feel like, you still have that moment of tension when you have to be like, oh my god, I need to take a potion right now or I'm going to die. But at the same time, it doesn't feel unfair. It doesn't feel like it's completely thrown the combat off or anything. It's really well designed.
And it's not going to result in one of those moments where you're like, oh, I have to go back to town right now because I'm out of potions.
Exactly. It removes the kind of potion tedium of having to restock all the time, which you see accomplished in different ways. Like something like Torchlight, for instance, you can just tell your pet to go buy more potions from town, so they find a way to get around that as well.
Right. Whereas Diablo had the health globes.
And Diablo 3 did basically enemies drop health globes, which are kind of instant refills. So there are a bunch of different ways around it, and I like what Grinding Deer has done, and the fact that these are actually, you'll get stat bonuses. Usually the effects are during the potion duration. But yeah, really well done. And I haven't found the difficulty to be really unfair yet. I'm playing on normal difficulty.
Was there the option just to start on a different difficulty level?
Oh crap. Okay, Quicksilver Flask. So there you can see how that is effective. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and kill all these guys at the same time.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, yeah, you're fighting a named one too.
Yeah, this is a special group, so I need to put my fire shield up. There we go. Now I'm gaining health back as I hit them. You can see the explosion, everything, and enemies will actually go after the totems as well. Let's see if I can knock this guy down. But I mean, really cool enemy designs, I think, for this area.
Yeah, there's a lot of attention.
Oh my god, this is like the best orb right now. This is the Orb of Alchemy.
Item to a rare item.
So this will take a totally crappy item, like, I don't even have a normal item, just a white item. So like, this bow, and upgrade it to rare status. So that is, I'm very happy I found that. I've been using those quite a bit. That's really cool.
So is there the option to start on anything other than normal right off the bat, or do you work your way through difficulty
Oh,
levels?
sorry. Yeah, so, I mean, I started on normal, and then I believe once I finish normal,
another orb.
I'll be able to unlock the next difficulty setting and then play through again.
Okay.
I felt the first 2 acts were really, really easy, so I flew through those without too much trouble. But then Act 3, which I'm in right now, seems much bigger, seems to have a much greater variety of enemy types, and here I'll actually go to a different area, so I'm not just in this dungeon the whole time. Let's use one of my town portal scrolls, go back to the town, and basically waypoint over to, where should I go? Go to the battlefront. See if I can find some different enemy types here. I'm in this area. These maps are huge. In the Act 3 maps compared to, there's another Flask, compared to 1 and 2, very big. You get seemingly a lot of variety in enemy types. Here you get ranged casters, ranged non-casters. You get enemies that will charge you. You get enemies that will resurrect. A whole variety. I mean, honestly, it's the same types of enemies you would see in Diablo.
Sure.
I haven't seen any truly novel type of enemy or attack pattern, but they seem varied enough so that it's not just go in and constantly spam. You do have to engage in that kind of target prioritization that makes the combat interesting, where it's like, oh my god, some enemy rolls in the back of a fight, and you're like, well, he's clearly the biggest threat. I need to go after him first before I deal with the rest of the trash.
I like the way that they handle the mini-map up in the right corner, too, because I remember when I played an alpha version of this, they had the traditional Diablo-style overlay.
So you can do that. You can do that. You can move this map around if you want to, which is helpful, especially in these maps where they're absolutely enormous. It's helpful for finding out did I actually locate the waypoint in this zone or not, because that can take a lot of time. It's like, well, I don't want to leave this zone until I can find an easy way back. So there are a couple different map options. I mean, they seem to have done a good job with animations. The way enemies die, it makes it feel like weapons are powerful, that skills have an impact. I think that's important, considering 80% of what you're doing in this game is just killing stuff.
And the game looks good too. I mean, it's come a long way over the years.
Oops, that's a dead end. Yeah, the game actually, it looks really nice. I like the armor designs. I like the realistic style. And even though it's kind of been, there was a little bit of repetition throughout Act 2, but I feel like in the third act, it has kind of come into its own, and it's been kind of it felt like things were evolving a little bit more. So for instance, I just found this gold ring. If I wanted to use this orb of, that is not the correct one, this one, the Orb of Alchemy, I could turn this into a rare item and put it right along with those ones, but I don't know if I necessarily want to do that because I don't want to waste it yet. I feel like I should hold on to those because those are so valuable. Although they do seem to drop pretty often. That's the other nice thing. It seems like it's not terribly hard to find cool drops, and the fact that I've already found like a really rare item that I have sitting in my inventory right now that I'll probably give to an alt character or something is pretty good. And I also like the rhythm of combat, how it doesn't feel like, at least with my current character, I mean, I don't know how it is if I went like Glass Cannon Spellcaster or something like that, which I obviously have not, but I feel like I don't have to run away all the time and basically do, like hit and run where I'm so worried about getting hit.
People everywhere all the time.
And like, I could use magic abilities if I wanted to as well. Like, I could use raise zombies and things like that as a Templar. That's not how I've built and upgraded my character. So it seems like there's a lot of room for experimentation, a lot of ways to kind of build a play style that you really like. It seems like there's also a lot of ways to screw that up and maybe build a character that you didn't exactly want to. But I like that there's that much freedom of decision making, and that the drops are so interesting because you're not just getting items, you're also getting abilities in combat. Of course, that can be frustrating, I guess, if you find a bunch of stuff that you don't like, but there are other players that you could potentially trade with for more items. Let's see. Oh, that guy's got endurance charges on him. I need to break out some armor here. I'm going to use my Quicksilver Flask to run around. I should set down probably a totem. Hopefully I don't blow that up. So that's just going to give me health back. You can see my shield explode there as I continue to... No, don't die. Gonna run around.
It looks pretty cool.
My totem's still there. There we go. And of course you can play multiplayer too. So I could be in it. I'm playing solo right now, but you could be in a large group, and that increases the amount of enemies that show up on screen, and your chances of getting perhaps some nicer items. So that's an unidentified Grand Mana Flask. I'm going to identify it. Okay, so I get 20% extra elemental resistances while the flask is kind of in effect, so that's actually a pretty neat feature. I might hang on to that, although I don't necessarily want to replace any of those, but I will put that in my inventory. So that is kind of an overview of the game. Now I'm still playing through on normal. I'm going to, get to the end and then start through on another difficulty setting, and I plan on posting more updates on IGN as I continue to play. But so far, I mean, this seems like a really, really good action RPG, and it's kind of unbelievable that it's free. But yeah, for more on Path of Exile, keep it on IGN.